In the dead of night, Houthi militants launched a targeted missile strike from inside Yemen. The payload slammed into Aba International Airport in Saudi Arabia, shattering the civilian infrastructure. Officials in Islamabad, 3,000 kilometers to the east, are now forced to confront the fallout of this single explosion. For decades, Pakistan has navigated the rivalries of the Middle East by maintaining a policy of strict functional neutrality. By targeting Saudi infrastructure, this Houthi strike threatens to dismantle that policy, creating a strategic emergency for the Pakistani state. To understand why Pakistan is cornered, you have to look at the binary divide dominating the Middle East. This map highlights the first major strategic alliance in gold. Led by Saudi Arabia, this Sunni majority bloc is focused on containing Iranian influence. The opposing force is the Iranian led axis of resistance. Tehran projects power outward by supporting proxy militias in Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen. Operating out of Yemen, the Houthis act as a heavily armed proxy within this Iranian network. Historically, Islamabad maintained vital economic and security relations with both of these rivals at the same time. But as Houthi missiles strike Saudi soil, the gap between Islamabad's two most critical partners is closing. The pressure begins with Saudi Arabia, Pakistan's most essential source of external financial support. This chart shows the scale of that dependency. Pakistan relies on the kingdom for bilateral loans, deferred oil payments, and billions in annual remittances. If Riyadh were to withdraw that capital, Pakistan's economy would face an immediate collapse. This reliance extends to the military. Pakistan regularly trains Saudi forces and deploys military advisors directly to the kingdom. Over time, this cooperation has created a specific expectation that Pakistan will treat an attack on Saudi Arabia as an attack on its own territory. Both financially and militarily, Islamabad is now under immense pressure to stand with Riyadh and retaliate. But honoring that obligation means turning directly against a neighbor Pakistan cannot afford to lose. To the west, Pakistan and Iran share a rugged 900-kilometer border running through an incredibly unstable, desolate, and heavily contested mountainous landscape. With the Baloch insurgency active in these mountains, Islamabad requires constant intelligence sharing from Tehran to keep the border from collapsing into chaos. The tension also reaches into Pakistan's own domestic population, which includes large numbers of both Sunni and Shia citizens. Alienating Tehran risks sparking a catastrophic wave of sectarian unrest, violently igniting mass protests within the streets of Pakistan's own major cities. Long term, Pakistan also views Iranian natural gas as a necessary solution to its own chronic energy shortages. Opposing Iran doesn't just risk a border conflict, it threatens the internal stability of the Pakistani state. As Houthi strikes continue, the luxury of staying quiet is disappearing. Islamabad is left with three options. Option A defends Saudi Arabia, satisfying Riyadh but risking a border breakdown and domestic unrest. Option B backs Iran, securing the border but crashing the economy through lost Gulf funding. Option C is neutrality, but this annihilates Riyadh's defense agreement, costing Arab support anyway. Pakistan recently attempted to navigate this by offering to mediate between the rival powers, but the role was instead handed to Qatar. Without a diplomatic exit, every remaining path requires a heavy national sacrifice. For Pakistan, the era of comfortable geopolitical neutrality has reached a limit. The state is now caught between the threat of national insolvency and the risk of internal collapse. It is an existential crisis for over 230 million people, triggered by a conflict thousands of miles from their borders. If you were in the halls of power in Islamabad, balancing the economy against national security, which path would you choose?